Just as we were about to say honours, even as we start the lunchtime show on day 3 on ESPN Cricket for Match Day, again there's something dramatic that's happened. A wicket of Keaton Jennings makes India's lunch that much tastier, and then begs the question, is this India's session or England's? That's the question for Ajit Agarkar and Nick Compton to answer. Has that third wicket shifted whose session that was for you?
No, I think now it's honours even.
Now it's honours even.
If England had not lost that wicket, I think it was firmly England's session. That when you consider they lost 2 wickets and one of Moeen Ali, as good as he was in the first innings, not one of their top order batsmen, you'd have thought with 65 ahead and just 2 wickets down and 2 batsmen looking fairly comfortable and scoring at a decent rate, had to be England's session. So that's a massive sort of boost for India going into that lunch, because the ball started to reverse as well. So anytime a new batter comes in, might find it a bit harder. So India just needed that wicket desperately.
Okay. You said yesterday, Nick, that Ajit was being kind to England by calling the session even. Are you agreeing with him now? Is this India's session for you, or do you agree with Ajit that it's even honours?
I might have to agree with Ajit there. I was going into the break just before they got the wicket, and I thought England were ahead. I think they were definitely ahead. I think when you've got a lead on a wicket like that, which is clearly going to start turning a bit more, I thought England were in a really good position. I thought Keaton Jennings started to play some positive shots, as we asked for earlier. And of course, Joe Root's at his rightful position at number 4 and playing quite nicely. So I thought England were in with a real shout there. But that wicket has really matched things up now, because again, if England get going again after lunch, I think they can quickly get into the lead again. But I think another wicket for India, and India are right back in this game.
Okay, let's have the chat one by one. It started with the wicket of Alistair Cook, and now again we must, at the cost of repeating ourselves, ask the question. It's like another failure for the ex-England captain. As good as he's been over the years, in 2018 his numbers are worse than they've ever been in his long and illustrious career. We'll take out those numbers for you, but let's just talk about the wicket itself. What was it? Ordinary shot for you, or good piece of bowling?
Yeah, I mean, obviously everyone knows you want to try and get it full to Cook. He sort of sits back, loves his, loves playing square of the wicket, gets it full at pace, Bumrah, and he's late on the shot. Foot's not obviously gone anywhere. Yeah, this is when you kind of start to, I mean, we've been harping about it, but when he's batted for as long as he has, again, then miss a good ball again, good bowling from Bumrah, which we've kind of kept saying through this test and the last one. But you expect Cook to do better. I think must be real question marks whether he can hold a place for the next test, whether England wins this or not.
Nick, just looking at those numbers again, once we've thrown these for you earlier, but just updated with this innings of Alistair Cook. In 2018 in Test cricket, an average of 18.62, which is also seen, I think, his overall average, which has been always healthy around 45 and above, has now dropped below 45, if you are a numbers man to actually count any of that. Just the 1/2 century this calendar year. Thoughts on the wicket itself, Nick?
Yeah, look, it's a shame really, because I thought in the first innings he actually played quite nicely, and again in the second innings I thought he lined the ball up quite nicely. His defence looked in good shape, and the ball was coming back. He got good bat on it, so it was actually starting to formalise a good partnership there, and then again just one mishap, one wicket. And Alistair Cook, as we've known for so many years, is a rhythm player. With his quite extended pre-delivery movements, he needs to be in a rhythm, and I just question whether he's getting enough cricket, getting enough intensity. I know Graham Gooch brought up yesterday that he's not sure what practice Cook's doing. He's a big practicer. He's someone who needs to hit a lot of balls, and sometimes that can be such a small difference. But only Alistair Cook will know what's going through his head. Where is his desire? Is his hunger and desire to really kick on now? And that's something only he can answer. I've got huge admiration for him and the longevity he's had in this game, but this is no doubt a tough period for him.
At the end of this 8th innings now for Cook, or 7th innings, as they batted just once in Lords, if you were the England selector, would you have a chat with him?
I would definitely have a chat with him. I'm sure coaches have had a chat with him. In the same breadth, you don't really want to talk to him too much, because then you start creating more doubt that there needs be. I would actually keep him for the Oval. Some may disagree, But I think to change him for the last test, I wouldn't do that. I would keep him for the Oval. It's a good batting wicket. He's scored runs there before. He is Alistair Cook. I do feel he's played quite well in this game. Yes, the runs haven't reflected that, and but I would go with him at the Oval and give him another chance.
Same question for you, Ajit. When I say have a chat, in the sense, tell him, all right, maybe it's time for you to move on now.
It's a tough one, isn't it, for someone who's been one
talisman
of your
yeah.
great players, and rightly so. So it's a tough chat. Again, like Nick says, they probably know in the camp what's going on best. Alistair Cook knows what's going on best. On current form, it's hard to argue whether he merits a place in that team. That's the other problem is the other guy or the guy at the other end better than him at the moment, which is not. Then when you have to think about Jennings or Cook, you'd always want to back Alistair Cook just for the sheer weight of his experience. So a very difficult situation England's in at the moment.
Yes, Nick.
Yeah, I just feel if you look at today, I mean, they sent Moeen Ali in, and I'm sure you were going to pick up on that.
Yes.
But quite interesting in some ways. I mean, I didn't agree with the move to bat him at 3, but actually it kind of admits that maybe Joe Root is best placed at number 4, and we've been saying that all along. I still think that Alistair Cook could potentially bat at number 3, and you know, people will say either he plays as an opener or he's dropped. But I do feel that in the short or medium term, we don't have a number 3 at the moment in England, a rightful person who's putting his hand up. Why not move him to number 3? Get this Burns, who's scoring a lot of runs for Surrey. Give him a chance to open the batting with Jennings. They're two guys at a similar age of their development, and that's what I keep trying to say. And I just feel that has a more solid feel to it. I don't think Moeen Ali is a top order Test cricketer at this moment as a batsman.
I will get into the Moeen Ali chat in detail, but since he's raised the point, Nick's been saying it for a while now. Batted 3, man who's batted his entire career opening. Do you see merit in, and does he add value to this England batting lineup at 3?
Yeah, for sure. For this batting lineup, yes. Who do you leave out then? I mean, maybe another spinner that they might leave out. Oval, who knows, might spin. Then you start playing with the combination of the team.
Yeah, but Moeen Ali doesn't like playing as one spinner.
Yeah, exactly the point. So then you've got to look at all those things as well. So if that works out as a balance for your team, then it makes sense. But clearly they need to sort out their top 3. Because it's letting them down far too often.
Okay, it's not a comfortable place to be in when you have to talk to a man who's been around for 150 plus tests, but we've put the options out for you. Either he bats 3, or you give him another go, or you figure out who can replace him. Anyway, the Moeen Ali chat also has to be had. We will have it in detail after the break, but when you saw Moeen Ali come out, were you saying, oh, this is nice from England, or like, what are England doing?
Yeah, didn't need to at that point, I felt.
They didn't need to.
No, I don't think it was the right move, in my opinion. It's a new ball. The Indian bowlers were still bowling well at that point. You almost, I mean, it's one thing batting number 3 in county cricket and batting against a good Indian bowling attack who's got his tail up at that point. You want your best players going and facing that. Like Nick says, maybe Joe Root's got the number that he's comfortable batting at, but I thought it was a bit of a sacrifice.
Okay,
really.
Alright, we will talk in detail about this Moeen Ali call to come in at 3. Nick Compton will have his view as well, and we'll look ahead to the next session of plays. So stay with us on ESPN Cricket Info Match Day. There's plenty we want to talk about this game on a knife edge.
Catch the best of the England-India series on ESPN Cricket Info. Match highlights, clips.
Right, so we're having the chat on Moeen Ali, who walked in surprisingly at number 3, at least surprisingly to us. We know he's That's where he bats in county cricket. That's where he's just got runs recently. Let's just have a quick look at his record, and Nick Compton would be aware of this. An average of over 50 in first-class cricket while batting at number 3. High score of 250, had a double 100 going into this game in the county setup, and lots of runs, 4,000 runs in 88 innings for Mo Ali. Right, Nick, so was this about Joe Root batting 4 and Moeen Ali looking good enough in the first innings, or what else was it? Ajit says he didn't like the move, did you?
No, I didn't like the move. I didn't think it was necessary mid-match. It's almost admitting that perhaps Joe Root is better placed at number 4 and sticking in someone like Moeen Ali, who I think plays spin pretty well and obviously has become quite adept down the order batting for England. He's done a good job when he's in form. Clearly put a good partnership on with Sam Curran in the first innings. Look, I understand that Moeen sees himself as a batter. He's a very, very good batsman. He has batted at 3 before for England. That didn't work. It's not to say it can't work again, but I think that's something that England need to clearly have a plan about. Is that Moeen Ali's place now? Is he going to be the next number 3 for England? Is that something they're going to look to move forward with? But at the moment, I don't think that's the case. I don't think Moeen Ali, albeit a very good player in county cricket at number 3, I'm not sure he warrants a test place at number 3. It's a different proposition. So I didn't like the move, but I suppose one way of getting Joe Root to number 4 was to get someone else to bat 3, and I suppose Moeen Ali was putting his hand up.
All right, sacrificial lamb in that case because he's out. It didn't work. Decent catch, KL Rahul.
I think Rahul's probably holding his place because of his catching more than anything else at the moment. I mean, exceptional in both these test matches. Yeah, that's the one thing that clearly separates these two teams is the catching in the slips, and Rahul's been at the forefront of it. So, yeah, 2 really good catches, and India desperately don't need to give any opportunities, extra opportunities to England by dropping those catches.
Fine margins in this test match. 11 catches for KL Rahul, the most by any player from either side, including keepers. The wicket of Keaton Jennings has that discussion now ready to be had. Nick, from this, will the result of this test match decide whether Keaton Jennings bats at the Oval, or has this innings given you enough to give him at least one more test?
Really tough question. I've not been a fan of this revolving door process. Trying someone else. The question you've got to ask yourself is the next person coming in any better, or is it going to be much of a muchness? If it's going to be much of a muchness, then my tendency is to try and stop this process of finding new opening batsmen for Alistair Cook. I mean, there might be a new opening batsman for Keaton Jennings. It depends how they view it, the selectors, and which way they want to go forward. If England win this test match, it means they win the series, and there might be an opportunity at the Oval to try a new partnership, to give a new combination a go, and try that, either drop Alistair Cook or put Alistair Cook to number 3 and try a new opening partnership, or carry on with what they've done. For me, I'd carry on with Keaton Jennings. I think he's got a good head on his shoulders. I think what he did today shows me that he's able to withstand some of the pressure. Okay, he didn't go on and get a big score, and I feel for him there because he was starting to play well. I thought he played the spin well. The attacking options he took are positive strokes and ones that he plays very well. So I'd be inclined to give him another game. I always feel that one game too many is better than one game too few.
Right, very quickly as we wrap things up on this show. Second session coming up. Ishant Sharma is treading on a territory that the umpires and the Indian batsmen don't like. How can he fix that?
It's always tough when a big guy like him to get off the pitch. Once he was warned, he obviously started going a lot wider, which then makes him a little bit less effective because the line's then starting a lot outside off.
Also the right arm over to the left.
Yeah, I think the ball started to reverse though over the last couple of years that you saw from Shami, which will be an advantage for most bowlers now coming in. Because
Shami and Bumrah then for you as second session?
No, I think Ashwin should continue from one end. Yeah, I wouldn't be. I mean, Bumrah could have a go, couple of overs, but Shami definitely needs to continue because he's one of those guys, when he gets into a bit of rhythm, can get you 2 or 3 quick wickets.
In your mind, Ashwin bowling a little more right arm over to the lefties?
Yeah, he did try, which is a positive after 10 overs or 12 overs.
All right, thank you Ajit Agarkar, Nick Compton. We'll take a bit of a breather and we'll see how the second session unfolds before we have another chat on ESPN Cricket Info Matchday. Join us for that tea time show. Do download the official ESPN Cricket Info mobile app. This game in the balance. Let's see if the second session on day 3 tilts it in favour of either side.